Hello and welcome to a special spooky edition of Wordplay. Happy Halloween! I am Nika Harper and this episode is all about suspense. In any story, large or small, there has to be an element of unsurety, of suspense, of something that actually keeps the reader reading, or the watcher watching, or the player playing. But what are the building blocks of creating a suspenseful story? What are those hooks that you can get in to make sure that someone wants to keep hearing or feeling this story? Like any wordplay topic, I decided to do a little research and I came across a couple things which I really think stand out and help make a good suspenseful story. Number one, we all know it always comes down to character. You really have to give a damn about whomever you're reading about. Whether or not you don't like them and kind of want to see their downfall, or if you really, really like them and only want to see the best. The second step, along with the plot, is escalation. No matter what came first, even those little moments of plateau and respite, you have to keep ratcheting that up. You gotta keep the pressure on and only getting worse. It's kind of dreadful for the character when you think about it. I mean, no matter what situation they're in, we as people know it's only going to get worse. The third big essential step is contrast. This is where it gets tricky. You can't have someone that wins all the time. You can't have someone that loses all the time. It becomes about the balance of the win versus lose. You gotta have a lot of really complicated, difficult things with pressure that's always on and unsurmountable odds. And the next thing you know, hey, things might not be so bad after all. Hey, a windfall. There's gas in the tank of the car. Let's go. In the almighty words of Tool, I will work to elevate you just enough to bring you down. That means if things start to go really well, even if there's gas in the tank of that car, maybe the car won't start. Maybe something else is going entirely wrong. Maybe there's nowhere to drive to. That's just the way the cookie crumbles. It's plot, it's suspense. It's not that the character always loses, it's just that you always think the character could lose, and is probably getting really close to it. And the fourth we know colloquially as the element of surprise! It means that every scene has to be unpredictable. You never really know what's going to happen. Is he going to win or is he going to lose? Is she going to die or is she gonna kick some ass? Sometimes you just can't know. A good way of keeping it unpredictable? Write the scene. Now write it again. Now write it again. Brainstorm all of these ideas out. Throw away most of them. Find the weirder one. Find the one that requires a little bit of loopholes, but the one that you might not be expecting. Building suspense is a lot about perspective. It's a lot about foreshadowing what is coming. Even if the character themselves don't know, the reader definitely should. They should know that the odds are damn near impossible. They should know that there's almost no way that they can get out of this. That's what makes it interesting. That's what makes it fun to watch someone try. And an easy way to elicit that dread and that foreshadowing is actually with the use of time constraints. There's nothing quite like the idea of you have 1 week or you have 24 hours to do something completely bonkers. But that's what makes it interesting. For every episode of Wordplay, I ask my Twitter people to help out and add some prompts for me. Apparently, I asked for this twice because I thought that I didn't do it, and I did. I was very confused when I found 2 documents both labeled October. So, the first ones, and some of the funniest ones that I found, were Closet Monster Group Therapy, that's from Sam, and Jittery Hangman on Their First Day from Nick. For my own story, I decided to go with the prompts Betting on Yourself to Lose by John Duvall and Crumbling from Carl Muchenhout. I've known this guy for like 5 years. No idea how to say his name properly. Bath. Bath, you're awesome. Thank you. So to illustrate the points of how to build suspense, I wrote a story called 13 to 31. Day 13. Simon walked past the pumpkins for the second time that day. It only caught his attention because it seemed abandoned. It wasn't carved, didn't sit anywhere in particular. No other decorations surrounded it in the middle of the courtyard. Was someone giving it away? Possibly a lazy attempt at being festive? Day 12. He saw the pumpkin had been carved, finally, and now sat with 2 others in the same haphazard spot across from his apartment. Mystery somewhat solved. Still looked out of place, but the carvers seemed skilled at their work. Simon had never felt uncomfortable about jack-o'-lanterns before, but the middle one's carved face looked strange. So there's a little sneaky peeky. You can read the rest of it on my Tumblr or check out the reading video that I do on my YouTube. So what about it? You think you can write suspense? I think you can. So why don't we give it a try? How about 500 to 1,000 words, or in any particular medium of your choice, on the topics of elation, sent in by Steptoe, who's a friend of mine, he's so cool, and also the fear of nothing, sent in by Dan. Since this is Halloween, or recently has been Halloween, why not try it with a little bit of a spooky hint as well? I mean, November is also spooky. Comes right after Halloween. You can't just like turn that off like a switch, right? I can't. If you liked this video, or maybe have a couple writer friends who would also benefit from the knowledge therein, please share and subscribe. It means so much. And of course, if you really liked it, please consider supporting us on Patreon. Wordplay is nothing without you guys. Thank you so much. So keep them quivering with anticipation and write on.